Good afternoon, hello, welcome to the Triathlon Dan YouTube channel. Welcome to a video all about that bike. My time trial / triathlon bike that I've customised over the last 2 or 3 months. I'm going to talk you through what equipment I've changed, what I've put on there, what I've done myself, and why. Now, firstly, if you're new around here, please do hit subscribe down below, it helps me out no end. And if you're new or not new, feel free to drop the video a like, drop me a comment down below what you think about the spec, anything you'd change or wouldn't change. It's just a bit awkward when nobody comments or likes or watches my videos, so thanks for making it a bit less awkward. So when I get into that, the components, if I say I've taken something off my bike, don't think, oh, that's rubbish, that's no good, the new thing you've got is loads better. It's not always the case. This sort of thing is very much horses for courses, so if you've got a bit of equipment that I say, oh, I've taken that off, don't worry about it. If it works for you and you get on with it and you use it fine, that's absolutely fine. It might be that I've taken it off because of personal preference or because of the discipline I'm doing or so on. This sort of stuff, as I say, is very individual. So please don't copy everything I do thinking it's going to be the best for you, because it probably isn't. What you should do is get a mountain bike. So a whistle stop tour overview of the bike. It is a Felt IA1. It sits second to the top in the range, so it sits above the IA 14 and 16, but below the IA FRD. The IA1 gets over the rest of the range. It gets integrated front brakes and their proprietary base bar and riser system. It's also got a storage option at the back as well that I haven't really got on the bike at the minute. Apart from that, it's pretty much the same as any other Felt IA. It's a size large, which is a 56cm top tube. I actually sized down when I bought this bike, went down one size, a lot more commonly available. I'm probably at the top end of this bike size-wise, but it fits me absolutely fine. So the first customization I made on this bike, and people might say, oh, it's not an upgrade. I would strongly disagree, is the colour. So when I bought this bike, it was a grey and exposed carbon and bits of black as well. It was very nice, it was very smart, but I just didn't love it. Now I know that colour is really individual, so I absolutely love the colour of this bike, but you might not, and that's absolutely fine. But people will disagree with me, but genuinely, I think that the fact that I love the colour of the bike that I'm riding is a genuine performance advantage. When I'm in a TT or a race or something, and you glance down to pick up a bottle or some food or something, and you see the bike you're riding, it makes you think, oh yes, I love this. It just gives you that extra little bit of, I'm not going to say it's 10 watts or so, but it definitely has an effect, like pulling it out of the car and seeing it's the colour you like and so on. So thank you to John the painter who painted this bike for me a few months ago now. It is a candy blue, and the black lettering has also got a rainbow fleck in it, so when the sun catches it, it looks absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love it, can't wait to see it in transition. That's the other plus point. I'm not going to miss it in transition, am I? So moving on to the next biggest item was the group set, so the gears. Now when I got the bike, it was running SRAM ETAP 11 speed, and I have kept the majority of that group set. All I've done is, so the bike was running a standard crank, so a 53 tooth chainring and a 39 tooth inner ring. I've taken that the chain rings off. I've used the same crank, so it's the Rotor Aero crank, and Mark at Pyramid Cycle Design machined me a 1x 58 tooth chainring. So the chainring teeth are what's called narrow wide, so they basically go in your chainring further so you don't drop your chain, so that you can cope with the bigger angles of using the full range of the cassette at the back. 58 teeth, I did a lot of calculations prior to buying the chainring. Suits me best for a lot of the time trial courses I do. If I'm going to go to Ironman Wales, I'd probably go back to the 5339 just because of all the hills, but for everything else, it is a real advantage running 1x. Removing that front mech, removing that from the wind is a big saving. I'm a little bit disappointed I can't get the mech hanger off. It is riveted into the frame, and because I'm likely to go back to a 2x setup for Ironman Wales, I don't particularly want to drill the rivets out, so unfortunately there's a little bit sticking out the wind, but I've still got that big saving of saving the front mech. The big savings from that is that the chain line is better. I'm not saying that, oh, I'm spinning out 5311 all the time. Sure, it happens occasionally, but what the purpose is, if you're sat at between 24 and 26 miles an hour, which is quite often where I find myself in triathlons, the chain line is a lot more efficient, it's a lot more straight. You put you further up the block than you would be if you had a smaller chainring. That's the point of it, really. Plus, when you're in transition, people think you know what you're doing if you've got a big chainring, don't they? Sticking on the group set, yes, it looks fairly obnoxious, but that is me through and through. I've got a gold chain. Now, the chain's actually provided to me. It's the only piece of equipment on this bike that is sponsored. So NRG Chains supply me with waxed chains. Now, NRG Chains make a great product, as of course I'm going to say. However, their reviews don't lie. Plenty of people buy these chains. I've certainly had no issues with them whatsoever. I use them in training, I use them in racing. Going to wax chains has been a genuine life changer for me. The lower maintenance on the drivetrain, of course you trust in the science of the saved friction and so on. And if you would like a race wax chain, there's a link in the description down below. If you enter the code TRIDAN, you'll get £10 off of a race chain at NRG Chains, and they represent great value already, so getting a tenner off is excellent value. And I've even got a t-shirt, so you know that they're paying me the sweet big bucks. joking, they're not paying me anything, just a great product, great guy, cheers. Further back in the group set, so I'm running an 1126 SRAM Red cassette. That's a one-piece cassette, and then the normal SRAM Red rear mech. I did mess around with a ceramic speed oversized pulley wheel, but I couldn't quite get it to clear the disc properly or work properly, so I went back to a normal SRAM Red cage. But then the pulley wheels are also from NRG Chains. They're ceramic bearings, so you can also see they're quite cool and funky, different colours as well, but they spin so easily. Yes, I'm not getting the gains of having a bigger wheel for the chain to go around, but I'm still saving some watts in the ceramic bearings are so much easier to spin. That product isn't actually live yet on NRG, but it will be soon, so keep your eyes peeled. I absolutely love them. I've been using them for months on the road bike. Wheels, now I'm not going to go into too much detail because these are going. I am swapping these wheels, but thanks to COVID I'm waiting on deliveries. I'm currently running a Zip Super 9 clincher rear and a Zip 808 clincher front. Used them for a couple of years, been absolutely fine, but I'm just going to a tubeless setup, but I'll cover that in another video when I get those wheels. Okay, so hydration, nutrition, storage. Now this isn't something I feel like I've fully nailed yet because I haven't tested the items that I've put on here. I've never had a bike with integrated anything, so coming to a bike that had a top tube like bag that I could put nutrition in, and a rear bag that I could put like a box on the seat tube that I could put storage in, is a real game changer. However, I did want to toy with integrated hydration. Now the felt IAs don't come with integrated hydration. However, I got my little DIY Dan thinking hat on, and thanks to a product that's available on Shapeaways, I'll leave a link to it down below if I do remember to do so. They've essentially got a 3D printed top tube that like bracket that replaces the nutrition storage and enables you to separately purchase the bladder, like fuel cell and top cap and straw from an S-Works Shift, the older model Shift, not the current one with the hydration behind the saddle, the one with the hydration and the down tubes, because these felts have quite big down tubes. So what I've done is bought that top plate, bought the specialised hydration bladder fuel cell, whatever they want to call it, and I've now got integrated hydration. So I haven't cut the tube down yet. I don't know exactly how I'm going to run it up the aero bar. I'm going to try and hide it from the wind as much as I can, but that will hold about 600 millilitres of fluid. And for an event like a 50-mile time trial perhaps, where I'm riding for between an hour and 50-ish, I might not want to take on any solid food, but a few sips of some carb mix or something would probably be just what I want, and that saves me having to have a bottle that I'm going to drop or pick something up or have to break aero position to drink from. So I'm going to give it a good test. I'm really happy with how it's turned out actually. There's not very many bikes you see at all that have had that amount of customization done, but I'm going to give it a good go this year. So moving further up to the armrests, I previously had some Aero Coach armrests, which were the first gen ones that people seem to think that they have issues at some point. So I got a bit scared and got rid of those. I have now got some George Fox armrests. Now these are aluminium, so they're not the lightest in the world, but they've got loads of holes underneath, so you can actually move them around and customize them quite a lot. They are solid, they are high-sided. I'm quite a big guy, so I'm conscious about how much weight and how much force is going through the armrests and poles and stuff when I'm going through potholes and ragging it around corners and stuff. I am absolutely reassured by how strong these are, and that's worth its weight in gold to take that element of doubt out of your mind, so I love using those. That's paired with some USE 30-degree angled extensions. That is all changing in the next few weeks, so I'm not going to go too much detail about it, but that's what the current setup is. I'm not too dissatisfied with it, but I'm going to something that's just perhaps a little bit better, a little bit more suited to me, but I'll cover that in a separate video. You'll see that I've been able to like route the ETAP wiring down the back of the stack and try to hide it from the wind as much as possible. So on those extensions, it's not bar tape on the end, it's actually heat wrap, like heat shrink tubing. Thanks to Will Cowan for the nod with this. So instead of having like a thick bar wrap, you've just got some rubber tubing that you sort of slot over your extension, heat up, and it shrinks around the extension, gives you enough grip to hold onto without gloves, but doesn't really add much size to the pole, so you haven't got to widen your hands or anything. It feels absolutely great, looks super cool, super aero, and yeah, feels good, so I look forward to testing that out. Just underneath that is a Project 76 mount, so that means I can get my Wahoo nicely out of the wind. I've actually turned this upside down on the mount so that it sits directly in between the aero bars rather than sitting a little bit up. I was finding that when I have it a little bit above the bars, I was picking my head up a little bit because it felt like the computer was a little bit close to my face. It probably wasn't on photos, it was a million miles away, but it just felt like it was close, so then it was making me ride with my head up. So just pushing it down about 2 or 3 centimeters has really helped me keep my head down when I'm riding. Obviously still looking at the road, but I mean like have having my head in more of a turtle position, I think they call it. On the flip side of that, of course, because I do this sort of thing, the beauty of having a Project 76 mount is that I've got an insert for it that has a Garmin mount on it, a GoPro mount on it as well. So on Club TTs and other races, I can put the GoPro on, I can collect the footage while I'm racing, and then I can talk through it afterwards with the data overlaid and stuff, and that's hopefully going to be a bit of a game changer for me this year. How does that affect performance? Well, in a race, if I'm thinking, oh, I'm recording this, I'm going to put it on the internet, I might just not blow up or sit up 5 minutes from the end. So that could be a game changer for me as well. Finally, the saddle is a Pro Missile, Pro Aero Fuel, I can't remember exactly what it's called. The saddle actually came on the bike and I tested it, and it's the best saddle I've got along with in the time trial position for ages. So I bought another one, put it on my indoor setup, and this one stayed on this bike. Absolutely love it. It looks like it should be aero. I'm not entirely sure whether saddles make much difference or not. However, it feels good, and comfort is number one priority for long distance events, so I'm dead happy with that so far. So in a nutshell, that is it. That is my felt IA1. I am super chuffed with it, to be honest. It's been a long time coming. There's definitely some times when you're faffing around with things and bolts aren't going where they should be and so on, and you think, oh, is this really worth it? But I'm actually quite happy with how it's turned out. I've been out for a few rides on it now, done one TT on it, a couple more to come in the next few weeks, so look forward to riding it in anger. But yeah, let me know down below. Would you have done any of that differently? I won't take offence, honestly, because a lot of these things have come from ideas and comments from other people, so it's that sort of input that leads to people changing stuff. So, and also if you've seen something on this bike today, you think, oh, I might try that on my bike, let me know down below. So thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you at a time trial or triathlon soon. Yes, you. Get your entries in.